Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Makeup. Today's video is all about this guy here, which is the Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector. So if I'm talking about this, you know I like it because I'm only going to be spending time on products that I really love going forward, because I don't want to be going on about too many products in general. This guy is absolutely amazing, and I'll get into why in a second. I got it because my boyfriend's mum was in the US there a couple of weeks ago. She texted me from Sephora and like said I literally had about 2 minutes to decide what I wanted, because she had actually texted me that morning and I completely forgot to get back to her to let her know if I want anything. And this is the only thing I could think of, because I'd actually seen a blog post by Lorraine Hagney, her brilliant blog called Janet's Only Makeup was, or I'd read a blog post about this on her blog a couple of weeks beforehand or whatever, and I was really intrigued by this. I have seen a few people mention it, but I haven't really actually spent or seen it mentioned too much, or like watched any videos on it or whatever. So I'll read quickly and say what it is. It is the first of its kind full coverage cream corrector, completely eradicates under eye darkness by brightening and evening skin tone. Infused with ultra-fine, light-reflecting illuminators, this rich, luminescent cream won't settle into fine lines or wrinkles and preps the skin for smooth, even concealer coverage. Pairs perfectly with the blah, 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 blah. So it says to wear under concealer to brighten and correct under eye darkness, or to apply over regular concealer for more intense luminosity. And to prevent this from drying out, make sure you have this closed properly. So I was really surprised by the shade and how there's only one shade available, because it is a very light bright pink. It's actually a lot lighter than what I even normally go for. I can't even use my normal Maybelline one with it because it almost darkens it, but once it's on, it's amazing. And I have seen, like, I saw photos online of people with darker skin tones wearing it and it wasn't ashy on them. So this does seem to have really high quality pigments in it, and the opacity of it really does help to knock out discoloration without having to worry about it actually color correcting. It's a little bit like, say, like the Vichy Dermablend, like those correctors. It's not so much color correcting, it's just that they're so pigment rich and opaque that they cover in that, like, you don't need a huge amount of product to get amazing coverage, if you know what I mean. Basically, I absolutely love it. It is hydrating, so I find that I can powder over the top of it, which is something I don't always or often do with concealers, because I'll find it just look dry throughout the day. But this seems to have enough of a barrier between the powder and the skin that it just doesn't dry out, and it's very emollient. It might be too emollient for some people. I personally love it. It does have an odd texture, a little bit tacky. Doesn't particularly stay very tacky afterwards. I think it has a film forming property in it as well, and it basically does not crease. So I'll show you anyhow here in the before and afters, and with me applying a little bit more about its application and how it looks and that. But basically this just lasts on me throughout the whole day. My makeup looks very similar after several hours. If anything, I might just have to tap it a tiny bit on the more prominent lines just under my eye, but for crappiness and creasiness that I normally get with a lot of other concealers, I don't get it. I use this as a primer, or as a base underneath my corrector. I don't actually use it over top. I'm sure you can, but I'm happy using it underneath because it's still very brightening. Like, even when I put the concealer on over top, it's still very brightening coming through. So yeah, just see how it looks compared to with and without, and my application. But I'm such a big fan of this. I've no idea what the price is. I didn't want to ask Mary when she gave it to me, but I'm sure it'll just take you 2 seconds to look it up online, and I will link down below as well if you want to see where you can buy it. So yeah, big fan of this. Let me know what you think about it as well if you do have it, and especially if you do have darker skin. Okay, so for the demo I have applied some foundation, just in case you are interested. It is the Max Factor Miracle Match Foundation. It's kind of the one I'm trying out and using mostly at the moment. And then I put some of my normal Catrice concealer around, but I've nothing above the orbital bone, so you can really see how dark my under eye circles are when I have foundation on. The purple discoloration and just the general darkness here on the inner corner, and then I have hormonal discoloration here, so it would be similar to what a pregnant lady would get, where she gets that pregnancy mask, even though that's not what it is, obviously. It is hormonal though, it's like the same kind of hormones. I think it's from changing pills, so I have that as well. So I do have quite a lot of issues to deal with underneath the eye. I've actually just been applying this with my fingers. I really like how the fingers help to kind of blend it into the skin, because it is like that really emollient, almost like waxy, sticky kind of feel. So I prefer to allow the warmth of my fingers kind of help that out. So pick it up on the finger and literally just pat it in place. And you don't need a huge amount for this to do a good job. I think one of the reasons it's so good is because of the pigment, probably the quality of pigments that are used in it. And I was kind of concerned that it would look ashy, it being so pale, because I was kind of a bit surprised that it was just the one really, really light shade that's available. But I've seen other people on like different blog posts and stuff with much darker skin tones than mine. I'm going like talking about like, you know, deeper like Asian, Indian Asian kind of skin tones, and it seems to work amazing on them. So it's really surprising that it doesn't seem to come out very, very ashy. And again, I think that's down to the quality of the pigments. I was also a bit worried that the pink would just kind of, like, it wouldn't really do much to cancel out the purple tones under my eyes, because obviously you're putting similar tones on top of similar tones which don't really cancel each other out. But again, I think it's down to the opaque nature of the formula and the quality of the pigments that helps to work. So I'm sure you can see that it just completely brightens it up. And I think if I actually could happily get away with just wearing that. I don't even need to put a concealer over it most of the time. I'm just going to quickly zoom in and show you the difference now between the two eyes. So there, I suppose I could put a tiny bit more here where the hormonal stuff is, but you can see it's just completely brightened up. Like, it's much more pinky looking here. I mean, there's obviously still a teeny bit of discoloration, but this is a two-step process. You know, it says on the box to either use it over or under your other concealer. But even as a standalone product, it's still a lot better than a lot of other products I have. So there it is here compared to without, and I think that does an amazing job. And I have used it on a few clients so far and have been really, really happy with how it seems to work on everyone. So yeah, really, really like that. I'll just do the other one quickly and then show you what it looks then with what it looks like with the concealer on top. This has amazing spread in it as well, so you really, really don't, like I said already, have to use much. In fact, like the first couple of times I used it, I put way too much on, just because I was kind of thinking of it in the way you're treating it as you would a traditional under eye concealer. Whereas this does seem to have way more, kind of pack much more punch per amount than other concealers. So that's it there underneath both eyes, and you can see it's quite shiny when it first goes on. It does, when it first goes on, yeah, it does mattify down a little bit, but it definitely has quite a sheen when you initially put it on, and it has an unusual texture. I'm just putting the Catrice one over my lid. It has an unusual texture as well. It is somewhat like tacky. I wouldn't say it's full on sticky, but it is a little bit tacky, and I think that's one of the reasons why it obviously stays in place so well on the eye. And I think it does have somewhat, it doesn't necessarily say this on the box, and I haven't looked up other reviews because I wanted to completely just have my own opinion on it, but I have a feeling it seems to have, what I'm trying to say is that it seems to have film forming properties. Now, because this is much more of a brightening concealer than I normally go for, I actually can't use my normal Maybelline Fit Me number 15 over it because it actually almost darkens it too much. So I've been using my MAC Select Moisture Cover in NW15. And I use very, very little of it. You really don't need much because, like I said, it does cover really, really well as is. And there's a stupid hair on my face. I trimmed my fringe again. As I mentioned in Tuesday's video, I got my hair cut and coloured. Even though this is only a process, that's why it's so orange, because I want to go lighter, kind of balayage. But I ended up cutting the fringe again myself because it was just a bit too choppy. I kind of knew I would do that anyhow. So pop a little bit of the Select Moisture Cover over top. And it is really, really brightening. I really, really like the effect. Whereas the Select Moisture cover I find wouldn't necessarily have enough coverage by itself, which is why it's not really one I've ever really gone for much in the past. I love it with this under eye brightener. And there are other kind of correctors and brighteners I have that I just don't like as much. I think it's because of the fact that this one creases so less than a lot of the other ones, especially like the thin skin underneath my eye. That's why I love it so much. I just don't have to be as worried about that area. And then all I'm going to do is put a little bit of the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder. I have it in a sample pot, even though I do have the full thing in my kit. This is what I leave on my desk. And use a fluffy brush to apply that underneath the eye. I found you're better off not putting too much powder on, but at the same time you want enough that you know, will kind of take down the shine, because it will stay a little bit shiny if you put nothing over top. So just, and I really only put it there on that inner triangle area. Already you can see the difference there. So that's with the powder and that's without. Actually, I better zoom in and show you this quickly. So yeah, that's with some of the powder over the top, and that's without, with that shine. I think as well, because I have, like, my skin or the shape of my eye has a dent there underneath the eye, that's why it shows off the colour or the shine so much. So for if you do have those kind of dents or funny angles underneath your eyes, it is a good idea to pop on powder, and then that'll take away the shine. So that's pretty much it. That is how I'm applying it, how it looks, and yeah, really love this. I am very happily using this on clients as well, and definitely can see myself repurchasing this, even though I'd say this will last a long time. Like, it's 4.5 grams, which is 0.16 ounces, and you use so little. You need to use so little because so little goes a long way. And it does have a 24-month, which is 2 years of course, lifespan, which is great because I can imagine it lasting that long, definitely. So big huge thumbs up for this from me, like 5 out of 5, absolutely. So that's it for now, guys. If you have any comments or questions or queries, leave them below, and if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe. At the moment I'm uploading every Friday with the odd bonus videos on Tuesdays, but I'll see you next Friday anyhow. So long, guys.